Hello and welcome to Tara Smith's Kitchen. I am Tara Smith. Today I am cooking beef and barley. I'm going to do it a little different than I usually do. And I should be live on Rumble as well. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing the thing here, so it should be going live. I set it up. I heard they changed a few things with Rumble. There we go. I got it turned down. I don't know why the volume went back up. There's a little bit of delay in it, but it is there. And as usual, I have the chat up on my phone, so I have the StreamYard because the rants and comments on Rumble don't show up on StreamYard. At least last time I did it, it didn't. But I am browning some hamburger meat here. You don't want the meat too lean. But this will work. If it's a little too lean, you can add some butter later or a little olive oil, that's fine. But you want those drippings to cook the vegetables in. Let me stir this. I have about 2 pounds of hamburger meat here that I am browning in this pot. And we will take it out of the pot and then we will start the vegetables and the bouillon and all that good stuff. So you like chop down. Excuse me. And I'll show you what we're doing. In here, I have 3/6 celery, 1 large sweet onion, and I have about 5 medium to small carrots because it's just that time of year on the carrots. 3 cloves of garlic that I minced up. That's about it. And that's the vegetables we're going to put in there. You can use beef bouillon. You can use beef stock, as long as it's beef. You could probably use chicken, but what I am going to use is going to be better than bouillon, beef base. And I'm going to put 2 quarts in here with just about a cup of barley. And it's going to be, I'll show you, just the Quaker medium barley. Nothing fancy. And I have a bowl over here that I washed out. And there we go. That's for the hamburger meat. So we're going to take it out. We're going to put the vegetables back in. And then I'm probably going to use about a half a teaspoon of thyme. See, thyme, H-E-D. Oregano leaves, about a teaspoon. Marjoram, about a teaspoon. Hold on one second. Have oral surgery Friday, so kind of tooth is messing with me. But about a half a teaspoon thyme, teaspoon oregano, teaspoon of marjoram, probably a teaspoon of black pepper. And this time I am also going to add green beans. Of course, I'm adding celery as well. But I got the cut green beans, just a can of it. And instead of cream of mushroom, which I would usually just use like cream of mushroom, I'm doing the cream of chicken and mushroom. And I'm putting that in there. So that is what we have planned. The meat's getting there. The meat doesn't have to be all the way done. This is going to go back in the pot. I mean, just kind of brown it, kind of cook it, kind of do the thing. It's about ready for what I need to do. So I'm going to start taking it out of here. And you don't have to get like every little piece of meat. There can be a little bit in there. Because like I said, we're fixing to cook vegetables and the drippings here. And if your meat is a little bit too lean, like I said, you can add some butter, you can add some olive oil, just something in there so that you can cook the vegetables down. Because everything you add in here is seasoning. Just like anything else, it's seasoning. You know, it's all adding to the flavor, and it helps to cook like your carrots and stuff like that down a bit first before you add everything else to it. It helps wonderfully with the flavor. Just get what you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. I wouldn't leave any large chunks in there, but I mean, that'll work right there. And just set this to the side. Be careful, especially using a metal pot there for bowl. It might, or glass, either one. They could be hot because you just put hot hamburger meat in there. I'm going to add the vegetables now. And yes, I just put that in a plastic Tupperware thing. Let me go turn something off. I didn't realize it was on. Okay, hopefully I don't get dinged for that playing in the background. I try to turn it off. Sometimes it doesn't get turned off. Like there's nobody in there. Why does the TV have to be on? And just stir them around. We're going to cook these down for a little bit. And if you're out there, leave a comment. Let me know that you're there. If you're on Rumble, rants are appreciated. That is the only platform that I am monetized on. YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know how the volume and everything is. I would appreciate it. And we are cooking beef and barley. There we go. I think a lot of my viewers are over on Match Chat right now, which is fun. I can't wait. Another hour to go live, waiting for other people's chats to end. If it ends before I'm through, we should get something. We should get some people hopping on. Did they shut me down? What did they do? Nope, they didn't. Oh, it's still playing. I had to check over there on Rumble. I didn't see anything moving. I forget sometimes that there's a little bit of a delay. And just kind of stir it around a little bit. So that's 1 large sweet onion, about 5 medium to small carrots, just because that's the size they are right now. And 3 sticks of celery that I chopped up, and 3 cloves of garlic that I minced. And they're all in there. Sorry, I keep muting it. Have to cough. Don't figure y'all want to hear that. The measurements aren't exact. You can feel free to play with them. You can put a larger onion. You can put a white onion in there. You can put a yellow onion. I just use a big old Texas sweet onion, which isn't really huge. You would think being Texas, they would be bigger, but they're not. Usually the large yellow onions are bigger. But you can play with it. It doesn't have to be an exact, a cup of this, a quarter cup of that, what have you. I generally would use like about 3 large carrots, and 3 or 4 celery sticks, just an onion. If you got like a bag of small onions, just grab 2 or 3, chop them up and put them in there. I use rather large garlic cloves, not the smallest ones. Just use 3 of them. Kind of smashed them and then I minced them up. But nothing is really exact. But we are cooking. You want to get that grease and stuff all over your onions and everything, because we are cooking this down just a little bit. And we are basically sauteing the vegetables and the drippings from the hamburger meat. I do stuff like that a lot if you're new to the channel. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get 1 quart ready. If you hear the meowing back there, that is my cat, or one of them. She's like, I smell food cooking. Come on, come on, come on. I generally get the water when I do this pretty warm, just to kind of break up the better than bouillon. But if it's not like perfectly dissolved, it's just going to get real hot in the pot. So it's not that critical. There we go. Yep, better than bouillon. This stuff is amazing. I love it. Generally want about a teaspoon for every quart or every cup. And there's 4 cups in a quart. These are heaping teaspoons. I'm going to do 3 of them. It'll come out to about 4. And just stir that in there and get it ready. And have it sitting there. The thing that's going to take the longest amount of time is going to be cooking the barley, which we'll sit here and talk, or I might cook something else while we're waiting. I have no idea. I have some other things I could do. I haven't made my mind up yet, so we'll just see where that leads us. Now check over here on Rumble. No comments on Rumble yet. I got 4 people watching over there. Haven't been on this channel as much lately just because work has been crazy. I've got stuff out on my other channel, which is Chasing Ghost 4499. And that's mainly because I can ride my bike to work and back. That's a motorcycle channel. Now, if you want to do all these separately, I would start with the carrots and cook them down a little bit. Then I would add the onion and the celery, and then finally the garlic. We're just kind of cooking them down a little bit. So how are all of you out there? I'll put a comment out on my Discord. I do have a Discord. Type it in here. Sorry for the ping. I don't ping a lot if you're on my Discord. This is getting cooked down about where I want it. Kind of had a little bit too much drippings. We could have took some out of there. We're gonna leave it. This ain't health food. And if you make a mess, oh well. You can make this a little soupier, or you can make it a little thicker. I tend to make it a little thicker, but this is a dish you'll kind of want to eat in about the first 2 days or so if you put it in the fridge, because the barley will soak up the water. And it will soak up all of the broth or the bouillon or what have you. You don't want to leave it in the fridge that long. And I am turning the heat up right now. So stir this. The only reason I'm using the water that's a little bit warmer is just to dissolve the better than bouillon a little bit better. And that's all that's for. I'll pour that in the pot. And if it's not perfect, like I said, don't worry about it. Nothing has to be perfect. I mean, don't screw it up, but on virtually anything that I cook, if something has to be an exact amount ingredient-wise or what have you, I will let you know. Bjorn, how are you doing? Stir this. Go Shadow. How you doing? We're cooking beef and barley. I've got 1 large sweet onion, about 5 medium to small carrots, 3 sticks of celery, 3 cloves of garlic. I smashed them and then minced them up. 2 quarts of the better than bouillon. Hold on a second. I have somebody walking in here. Okay, your stove looks really clean. Okay, that's because I clean it. Thank you though. I appreciate it. At least someone noticed that I do clean. The stove might be older than some of my viewers though. It's a Hot Point, I think, from like the early 90s. So it's just a cheap stove that somebody threw in the house. I don't think it's from the 70s. This house was built in like 70s something. But at least it's gas. They will take my gas stove from my cold, dead hands. And I am also over on Rumble. So I did bring that up. Haven't spilled. I just wiped up stuff that I spilled on. I spill stuff on my stove all the time. I make a mess. That is what I do. I am really good at making a mess. Oh yeah, I'm using cream of chicken and mushroom instead of cream of mushroom. I've been known to use cream of chicken when I don't have cream of mushroom, so I'm kind of doing both. And of course, I know that doesn't look great for now. But it is. You can also add mushrooms to the pot. And that goes well with this. I just generally don't because I live with someone that don't like mushrooms. And I do like mushrooms. I don't know if I'm going to add more bouillon to it. I might add a little bit more just to make it soupier. Or I might just add a little bit of water to it. I don't know. The bouillon kind of heavy. So there is that. And hold on one second. I need to get some more mixing bowls and everything. Or I could use this as it was designed. Hardly ever actually use it. It ends up being more like a set piece. I hadn't used it in a while, so yes, I rinsed it out. But that is 1 cup. I guess I'll wash it before I use it again. Got my little nesting doll that Amy got me. It is actually a measuring cup. So how are y'all doing? I have oral surgery Friday, so I'm not doing great, but I'm doing. There we go. See, I spill stuff on my stove. I promise you, I spill stuff on my stove. All over everything I set on my stove. This is going to take about 35-40 minutes. And once I get this boiling good, I'm probably going to add the meat to it. And I am forgetting the green beans. I don't actually have to add those just yet. So technically, those are already cooked. But I will drain them. So I have my green beans ready to go. And a cat looking at me like I'm crazy. Chat moving? I don't know. Added some water to the can. Get the rest of this. If I need to add some water to it, I'll add this. That over there. Now I'll check the YouTube side from YouTube. Just double check. Okay. We good. I was checking that because I think Matt said he was having some problems on his stream. And I will go back to Rumble. So I have 3 and 3. I should still be playing on Rumble. Did my feed cut out on Rumble? No, it's going. It's going. Rumble's getting better, but it's not quite where it needs to be. So I'm kind of trying it again. If you're on Rumble, leave a comment. Let me know you're there. And now we have brought this to a boil. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Let me see. I think this meal should be done in about 30 minutes. Do I have time to really make anything else? I do not know. I could do cornbread. But I don't know if I have a pan ready for that. And it would just be instant. What happens when you're gone all week and you come home, you don't know where anything is. And this is smelling good. So if anybody's out there watching, let me know my audio is okay, that sort of thing. I'd appreciate it. Let me check Discord. Hold on. We have dogs and cats doing their thing. That's what they do. Cool. And pulling Rumble back up. So for those that just joined, I have about 5 medium to small carrots that I chopped up. I have 1 large sweet onion, 3 sticks of celery, and 3 cloves of garlic that I minced up. We have 2 quarts of better than bouillon, which is this right here. I use the better than bouillon roasted beef base. And I'm fixing to add some seasoning. I just want to cook this a little bit first. We also, before we did that, we browned 2 pounds of hamburger meat. And of course, we did our vegetables and the drippings. So, thyme, we have oregano. Okay, here's my spices. Marjoram. It don't have to be organic, that's just what they had. I use a lot of marjoram, so a lot of Slavic food. Thyme, and it don't have to be ground, that's just what I have. And then oregano, which marjoram and oregano are technically the same plant, I believe. One is sweet and one is savory. Marjoram is often called, and in some parts of the world, is called sweet oregano. So, audio is good. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Go Shadow. Bjorn, I hope you feel better. I'm not doing great myself. This week's gonna hurt me a whole lot on my paycheck because today there really wasn't any work and my boss found something for me to do. So I went in, but it's like a BS load kind of thing. I'm sure Ghost Shadow remembers stuff like that. And then I'm off Friday for oral surgery, and I don't know if I'll be back Monday or not. If I feel good enough, I'll be back Monday, but I've got, all kinds of off time. I've got 1 load that I'm running tomorrow night. And for those that don't know, I'm a truck driver. That's what I do for a living. And I like to cook, and I like to ride motorcycles. I have another channel that is called Chasing Ghost. It is, Chasing Ghost 4499 on Instagram and YouTube, because YouTube added the numbers 4499. I think it's just Chasing Ghost. It'll be like a little ghost symbol on a motorcycle that is on Rumble. So it's on both of them. I need to post some more stuff over on the Rumble. It was supposed to be auto uploading, but for some reason, I think it stopped auto-uploading. So I got to go through there and check that because I do have a lot more stuff to do. And always be careful because that is hot. There we go. So I need some new measuring spoons too. I use them to get wear, especially these because you can slide them. Have to go back by the Container Store. And this is 1 teaspoon of oregano. My last video, I was just measuring with my hand. I don't know if any of y'all preferred that or not. But nothing is that exact that I cook. 1 teaspoon of marjoram. And like I said, if it is that exact for some reason, or I'm going off somebody else's recipe where I'm doing something exactly, I will let you know. Half a teaspoon of thyme. This is ground. It doesn't have to be ground. Like I said, that's just what I have. Just because I like pepper. I'm going to put 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. I already put a little bit of salt in there with the beef. I might add some more. I'm not exactly sure at the moment. I might, but I will add the green beans. Now, when you're adding stuff to the pot, remember the temperature of whatever you're adding is going to cool the pot down a little bit. Like when you're cooking beans and stuff like that, things that'll soak up all the water, even if you soak them, like you got pinto beans going, on something like that, have an extra pot of water going so that you're adding hot water to it, not cold water. Let me stir this around. It's about right. Doesn't need any more salt. I'll probably put a good teaspoon of salt in there before I brown the meat. Always taste your soup, taste your stew, taste your flour, taste anything you're cooking. If you're cooking for a bunch of people, get some little disposable spoons because they don't tend to like when you reuse things. And let me see. I'm going to add the meat back to it. Like I said, that's going to reduce the temperature a little bit. This is still kind of warm, so it's not bad. But especially if you're adding like cold ingredients and stuff like that to it, it's just something to keep in mind. This is nearly too hot to touch. this should not be a problem. My dog is going to love that. He is the official plate and bowl pre-cleaner for the house. Before I wash them in the sink. Don't worry, they get washed. He just gets his own little treat. Because he is a good boy. Now, am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. I think we're good. And there he is. Is that my good boy? What are you doing? Are you terrorizing the cats? Did you eat another can? He's a mastiff, so you got to watch it with him. He will, if he likes something and he thinks there's something in there that he wants, like he knows what cat food looks like, he'll just chew the can open. So you have to put them out of his reach. Because he is a dog, and that's what he does. So now all we're waiting on is the barley, which should take about another 10 to 15 minutes. I don't think that's enough to cook anything else. I wonder what this would taste like with white pepper. One of the things some people will do with the meat is they will add a bay leaf when they put it in there. And then they will cook it for a while. You can cook this longer than I cook it. I'm just not spending that long doing it for video's sake. And from start to finish, this meal should take you, depending on how quick you chop your vegetables, it's going to be around 45 minutes. Just 45 minutes just for the barley to cook. And the vegetables, 10, 15 minutes, about 10 minutes there. So somewhere around an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes, this meal is ready to serve. But you can put it on low and you can cook it longer and let all the seasoning and stuff sink in a little bit more. But most of us don't have that kind of time. It's like you're getting home and you're feeding a family. This is something where you can kind of do something else, though. I mean, once you brown the hamburger meat, then you cook the vegetables, and then you start cooking the barley. You don't have to wait till you're half through to add the seasoning and stuff like that. You can add the seasoning right then. And just let the barley cook for like 40, 45 minutes and do something else that you need to do. You know, dishes, laundry, kids getting their homework done, all that kind of stuff. All of mine are grown now, so I wish they were still doing their homework. But life marches on. It's a good song. Time marches on. I grew up in the country. We listened to a lot of country music. While I'm recovering this weekend, I might see why my stuff's not auto-posting. There might be a date in there somewhere I need to refresh. Or maybe because I'm auto-posting from both channels to Rumble. So I have two different Rumble channels. One is Terraceless Kitchen, and the other is Chasing Ghosts. One's for cooking, one's for like my motorcycle content, that sort of thing. And it's supposed to be auto-uploading. when I'm not doing lives. I'll go back through. I'll see how I feel this weekend after surgery and everything, and I will try that. Oh, also, I can reach around and grab this. Tabasco is good, and they got flavors for Tabasco and stuff now, but I was always traditional Tabasco. I do cook Cajun food as well. This stuff, Crystal, if you're wanting a little bit more flavor and a little bit more sweetness, more flavor, and not just wanting it to be hot, and Tabasco is good for what it is. I still use it on eggs, everything else. But like for the soups and stuff and gumbo and what have you, and I might try some of this in here. The Crystal, actually, I like it better. A little more flavor. So what are we gonna do for another 10 minutes? Should have got something else to cook. But since I used it, I'll go ahead. I know how clean it is. The part I used is. But took the head off the doll. It's a measuring cup. That is a half a cup, 125 milliliters. The other little head is a quarter cup, 60 milliliters. And then of course we have 1/3 cup on the little one. And I just use this, so I gotta wash it. 1 cup or 250 milliliters. All in a beautiful little nesting doll that is generally sitting on my stove. I gotta remember to use it more. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Oh yeah, I need to scare some kids this Halloween. Give me a big cauldron going, but actually have that would be pretty cool, is to have actual food cooking, like some kind of soup, or, sorry, I'm mispronouncing, my teeth's messed up. But dress up like a witch and have an actual cauldron going, but have real food that you can serve people. I might do that for Halloween. I don't know. Someone remind me when it gets closer to Halloween. I think that would be pretty cool. So I am kneading barley. Need to try the barley. Turn it down just a little bit. Need just a little more time. But it tastes awesome. The nesting dolls are kind of Slavic, and everything Slavic is called Russian. But yeah, Russian nesting dolls. Russians have them, Poles have them, Ukrainians have them, Belarusians have them, Czechs have them. So, and I cook food from all those areas. But famously Russian. You know, people, when they think of stuff like that, they think Russian. Part Slovak yourself. Cool. The Slovaks are the ones that wanted to split, actually. Because after World War One, they created Czechoslovakia. I can't remember who was under which control before then, because it was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, I think the Czechs, which was Bohemia, you know. Well, there's Bohemia, Moravia, and there's a couple little places in there as well. But basically, the Czechs were under, I'm wanting to say Austrian rule, and the Slovaks under Hungarian, or it was flip-flopped. I can't remember which was which. But after World War One, they created Czechoslovakia. And you know how people are, they put two groups of people together, and the language is really close, and there's a lot of real close similarities, but it's still two different groups of people, you know? And it's like cousins, you know, first cousins kind of thing. And then, of course, after World War II, and you have the communism take over, and you had the Velvet Revolution, and early 90s, I think, late 80s, and, you know, the fall of communism. And the Slovaks were the ones who wanted to split into two separate countries. So they split. And there was some stuff with the language and what have you. And like any other group of people, one person's like, we're better, and then we're better. Yeah, but they wanted their own thing, so they got their own thing, you know? So you have Slovakia and you have the Czech Republic. I believe Slovakia at one point was known as the most racist country in Europe, but that's a whole different story. Ukraine's not far behind them. Anybody thinking they're a bunch of blue-haired liberal arts majors over there? No, they're not. And there's a whole big deal with the Roma and all that, which is they are lower class. That's the gypsies, and they got slums. And if you want to look at the history, it's very interesting. I find all ethnic groups to be beautiful myself, and I wish there wasn't all the other BS. Yeah, the Sudetenland. That's another thing in itself too, because the Poles have a really good story about the migration, because the Germanic peoples migrated away from there a long time ago. This is back when the Vikings were still Germanic people, you know? They were just Germanic tribes. They weren't Norsemen or anything like that yet, you know? And the area that would become Poland would become the Czech Republic, would become Russia. You know, they had the three brothers. It's Czech, Lech, and Rus, or something like that. It's not hard to look up. And for a long time, the Sudeten Forest was like a barrier, because you couldn't really take an army through the forest like that. So it was a natural barrier that protected everyone. Well, times change, economies change, and then there was a king in Bohemia that decided that he needed people on that land producing things. So he invited Germanic people to come in there. And there was a portion of the people there that did speak German because of that, you know? And he invited them in, but it was our land, you know? And then the Nazis used that to say, hey, these people speak our language, to invade the Sudetenland, the same way the Russians invaded Crimea. And there's a lot of people in Crimea and Ukraine even, that say, hey, we're Russian, you know? There's a lot of people that say, we're Ukrainian. Depends on where you're at and that sort of thing. And then, of course, he pushed his way all the way into Prague. You know, people are like, oh, he invaded Poland. No, he invaded Czechoslovakia. And that was the beginning of the war, you know? Yeah, they forget about us. And, yeah, it's a lot of beautiful history. I want to see the clock in Prague. The world's first working astronomical clock. If you want to look that up, there's an interesting story to it. The guy who built it, and this is a few hundred years ago, they blinded him so that he couldn't build another. And then someone sabotaged it, and then somebody got it working again. It's a famous clock. And there's also more castles in the Czech Republic than any other country in Europe today. Like right now, there are more castles in the Czech Republic than any other country in Europe. It is also where Pilsner beer comes from. Because you go back, to those times, most people were drinking like mead, and that sort of thing. And they decided, hey, we're going to get some of these grains over here and these grains. And Pilsen, Czech Republic. That is where Pilsner beer comes from. The Germans did not create that, although they did wonders with it. They're like, hey, this is good. Let's see what we can do with it. I probably need to be getting a bowl ready to try this. I don't know what kind of bowl I have ready. But I do know that I have a bowl. I will use this one. And do I have a spoon? Like to just dish all this up with? I'm sitting here running my mouth when I need to be doing other things. I need a spoon to dish it up with. So we're getting close. But feel free to look up that information. It's a pretty cool history. I have to wash something. Yes, this is a real home kitchen. Shit happened. Sorry, not the language. Things happen. There we go. I wish I could come up with a whole bunch of cool stories like Justin Wilson, that sort of thing. I grew up listening to, Julia Child, the Frugal Gourmet, and Justin Wilson, which basically meant we were poor and we didn't have cable. So we watched a lot of PBS and Sunday matinee movies. See, I'm just trying some. Kitchens like ships are conducive to swearing. Yes, yes. If you work in a real kitchen, they're also conducive to things like cocaine. A lot of it. among other things. It's one of those trades where people are trying to stay awake and do stuff. That's about right. So, I get food everywhere. I just do. And so to go over our ingredients again, are the whole thing. I browned. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Sorry. I browned 2 pounds of hamburger meat. And then I cooked down about 5 medium to small carrots, 1 large sweet onion, and 3 sticks of celery, three cloves of garlic, and the drippings. Then we added 2 quarts of better than bouillon beef base, a cup of barley, medium barley, 1 small can of green beans, 1 can of cream of chicken and mushroom soup, and we put in a half a teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of marjoram, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and 1.5 teaspoons of black pepper. I also probably put in about 1 teaspoon of salt when I was cooking the meat. I wish I could make that look better. There's always like a trail. A professional cook would have it look better. But that is the soup. Now, it was interesting to listen to stories from like, what was that guy that traveled and he had the cooking show? He committed suicide. You know who I'm talking about. It was interesting listening to his stories, chefs like that and how they came up and the stuff that they did. Anthony Bourdain, yes. He would talk about stuff like that. And yes, this is very good. Well, like I said earlier, and I don't know if y'all were here on the chat, this isn't a dish that I would leave in the fridge for like 3 or 4 days. This is something that I would want to eat up in like 2 days, maybe 3 the most. Just because the barley is going to keep soaking up all of the juices in there. And by about the fourth or fifth day, they'll be huge and you won't want to eat it anyways. About the first or second day, that's about when I would eat it. But the soup's awesome. I don't know whether to call it a soup or a stew. It's kind of both. You can make it both. You could do the exact same thing that I just did. Instead of using hamburger meat, you could use stew meat. And you can cut up the stew meat smaller, and you could brown the stew meat just like I did. The only difference is you're probably going to need a little more like oil or butter or something like that in the pan to get everything going. But you could brown in fact, I might do that next time I make this dish. But you could brown the stew meat and then take the stew meat out and do everything else just like I just did. You don't have to use hamburger. And see? It is good. And that is my supper. That will be my supper and probably breakfast tomorrow. Well, I might cook like bacon and eggs or something for breakfast, but I got to do a short trip. Like I said, my funds are going to be low because of that. And it's basically just because I have oral surgery on Friday. It messes my whole work week up. And I will be taking this with me in the truck to pop in a microwave at a truck stop. So I might be eating it for breakfast. I don't know. Like Wednesday. But don't know when I'm going on live. Again, I might do it tomorrow cooking breakfast. And I don't know. Depends on how late I wake up. Because I've got to pick up at 5 p.m., which means I'm probably going to sleep till like 10 or 11. So it'd probably be like 11 o'clock in the morning. So it'd be like a brunch or breakfast for lunch kind of thing. Thank you, M. Gabriel. If you got to go, you got to go. Thank you for watching. I do have everything to make garlic soup here. I do need to pick up some Swiss cheese. So that might be the next actual pot of something that I make. I'm not sure. So anyways, thank you. Until next time, y'all are awesome. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push that little button up there. And I'm going to get out of here. So all those in the live chat, M. Gabriel, Ghost Shadow, Bjorn, thank you so much for commenting. All of you on Rumble, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all later. Bye.